Alright, everyone, welcome back to the Mode of Anatomy. I'm just gonna pretend like this is the first time that I'm talking to the mic, but no, I talked for like 40 minutes before. Like 20 minutes, I should say, because the video's not even 40 minutes. And it was a recording, so great. But at the same time, um, I wasn't mad about it just because I was like, hey, it happens, whatever. But yeah, big shout out to everybody who tunes to these videos. Definitely much love and appreciated. One of you guys mentioned that I've been sounding a little too negative on these Washington talks. My apologies. I do not want to, add to the negativity of the world. I definitely do not want to be known as the Washington talk guy who's always just talking negative stuff. Um, I think that it maybe come off as that, but I really want to turn all these conversations that we have into a positive thing. I want to make sure that I make you think, make you laugh, make you have a different perspective. And in a respectful manner. Please feel free to disagree with me. Please feel free to challenge my ideas. I by no means know everything, and by no means is my way of thinking 100% right, because I don't have all these different backgrounds and lifestyles and just life experiences. So um, that said, again, definitely do not want to come off as negative. I think just sometimes the conversations go that way just based on the fact that I have different interactions or things like that during the week, and so it kind of sparks the idea of like, oh, maybe I should talk about that in the Washington talk. And so um, today I definitely want to share something. Like, I've been on this huge rabbit hole as of lately on gratitude. Gratitude is something that I feel I don't practice enough. I do little things here and there, and I am definitely not one of the people to mention it to people. I don't do something and put it on camera so then people can be like, oh yeah, he gives back. I believe in paying it forward. I believe in being kind, being nice to people, especially when people are not watching, especially when people are not gonna know. Just like I mentioned to you guys, the biggest flexes that I believe on are the ones that nobody flexes about and nobody knows about. Um, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, just being grateful, just helping people, being a positive impact on people's life. Um, it may not be something for everyone. However, um, I truly believe that the more positivity you share, the more you talk about it, the more you feed yourself that positivity, whether it's via podcast or even music, or just feel good, be around a circle, you find people like-minded individuals, you're just a happier person. I truly believe that. And I do believe that paying it forward and being grateful are two major key ingredients to just being happy. We definitely see that a lot with people that quote unquote are successful, and they're still having depression, they're still having all these doubts, they're still having all these mental health and challenges like that. And just like Tony Robbins says, success without satisfaction is the biggest failure. um, and again, success is a iffy term, but I find myself feeling very, very successful. I'm very happy with what I have. It doesn't mean that I don't want more. It doesn't mean that I'm not striving for more. But I also I'm constantly reminding myself of the simple things. Simple things are the ones that get you through. And the simple things are actually the things that I think have the most impact. That's why I feel like once you start having conversations, once you start feeding yourself positive stuff, you can share that with others. And let's be realistic. If the person wants to hear, they'll hear it. If not, they're still going to be holding on to negativity regardless. And so, one of the things that I started reading a book. That book is called A Man Named Ove, OVE. Now, this is the first time I've heard about this book. A fellow coworker of mine is providing it to their sophomores, and they're reading that book. I sat in the storage room. I picked it up. I started reading. Well, let me tell you guys. I started kind of crying. Chapter 3, chapter 5. I'm on chapter 7 right now, and I started crying for a few things, and I'll share some of them. Uh, the whole idea of it, the book, is that the man is an old grumpy man, right? And everybody where he lives, he's like, oh, he's a grumpy man. Don't talk to him. And then on top of that, they go into the story about his car. He drives a Saab, 92, I think it's called. And then they go on the story about how he got that car, and obviously he's older and he's had it his whole life, and he got it from his dad, and so there's a story to it. Obviously, as a car person, and whether you're a car girl or a car guy, there's a story to it, you know. Whenever my car is at a car meet or outside a restaurant or wherever, people recognize Gus is around. Very unlikely that somebody else is gonna be driving my car. Um, and that's funny because I've had a few people always ask me like, "Hey, bro, was that you?" So I'm like, "Yeah, probably." you know, I don't think maybe once or twice my wife drives my car, but very unlikely. And so yeah, so people recognize people by their cars, obviously, and so that those stories were a little bit, they hit home, and man, I was crying. I was like, just kind of like low key though, because my wife was working out. I don't want her to see me. Um, but anyways, uh, so I'm still obviously not done with the book. I'm still reading, having conversation with different people about, not everybody's grumpy. I think everybody's happy. I'm gonna say that. I think people become dull, bitter, and negative via their experiences, and sometimes when they don't feel appreciated or they don't go out of their way to help others, I think that's how you end up in that situation. And so I remember when I was a freshman in high school, uh, I've always been the class clown, and not all the classes, the class that I felt comfortable. And I remember my freshman year, the teacher's amazing teacher. I still talk to him to this day. He had to, get the day off, so they sent a substitute. They sent this substitute, older man, not super old, but older man. He had already been retired, and he had a speech impairment. He would stutter, and then once he tried to write on the board, his hand was shaking, and so it was very difficult for him to write. Now, you guys may believe me or not, but I am one of those people that I like to make fun of people if I know them, if we're cool, if we're buddies. I dislike so much when people make fun of people's cognitive speech. You know, maybe they have a shorter leg or no arms, like physical challenges. I really really dislike that. I don't make fun of people in those things because I know that that's a whole different thing you don't mess with. So I've always been the fun guy, make fun of myself, make fun of my buddies I knew. And I remember this particular situation. Most of the time when you have a substitute, you just kind of more loud than usual. And I remember seeing that he had a speech, listening as soon as we walked in, like he started stuttering to say something. And I knew like, oh shoot, I'm not gonna make fun of him at all. I didn't. I saw that he was having a hard time to write on the board, and I was patient that day. I may have been talking to my peers and things like that, but I remember that it was other people that were, you know, being more loud and obnoxious. And the reason why I remember specifically was because I felt bad. I felt bad. I was like, damn, like he's doing this even though with a speech impairment and he's handshaking. That's definitely something that I don't mess with, right? So the next day, obviously the substitute left a note. The teacher he started the class and he said, I just want to start by saying that I'm very disappointed by the way you guys treated the substitute yesterday. There's absolutely no reason why anybody should make fun of somebody because of their speech impairment or because their handshakes when they're trying to write. And he looked at me. He didn't say my name. He just looked at me. And he was like, it's important to know the limit when and in the place to make fun of people and things. And then, he started talking to the class. And I sat there thinking, I didn't make fun of him. Like, I know I didn't. That's something that I wouldn't mess with. And to this day, and I'll share with you guys another story as to why that's definitely a soft spot for me. I don't mess with people like that. And after the class ended, I was quiet the whole time because I was like, does he think that it was me? Like, there was no way it was me. So after the class, I stayed and I said, hey, I talked to you like I didn't make fun of the older man. Like it wasn't me. And he looked at me and he's like, "Look, I'm not gonna say it was you because I think it was the whole class, right? Um, mm, but did you help him? Did you say, hey, may I read the directions for you? Did you say, hey, can I just write whatever you need me to write in the board for you?" I was like, well, no. It's like, exactly. You may have not added to it, but you're also part of the problem. You didn't ask to help. You didn't say, hey, how can I make this easier for you? And that always stood with me. I realized that he was right. I said, look, I just want you to know that I didn't make fun of his speech impairment or his like handshaking. I don't do that. He said, okay, I believe you, but just know that there's always a step further you can take it, which is to help him. And it stood with me. You know, obviously that was my freshman year. Um, and yeah, again, I'm a huge class clown. I made fun of people. I made fun of myself. But that was definitely something that I was thinking, like, damn, like to be at that age and to work and be, you know, I would say confident slash brave to be in front of a class. You know, you kind of get a job that requires you to speak. Man, my hat's off to that gentleman. And so yeah, like I told you guys, I am definitely very grateful for the things that I do have. Um, I understand that I'm very entitled, and by entitled I mean I've I have so many opportunities that others don't. Entitled means that I have the privilege to be able to just wash my car, uh, and not fear for my safety. That, you know, my surroundings. I live in a safe environment, a safe place. Um, I see things different. I guess I would say. I see that. Yes, there's, and maybe some of you guys may agree or disagree. There is systematic racism, but at the end of the day, I am in a position, in a place where I can still make it, regardless. And it takes work and it takes time, but hey, you still have the opportunity, and that in itself um, has to say a lot. And again, if you guys don't believe that there is systematic racism, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. I just know that there's a lot of different things that still to this day go on that, you know, other people have, I guess, more obstacles. Do women get paid less than men? Yes. Do women get treated differently? Yes. I'm a man. I don't know how they get treated. But just because I don't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so all these different things that come up that I've always been kind of, you know, along the way getting taught by either teachers or different people. Like, look, man, like there's always something else that someone's battling that you don't know about. And so that's always, you know, it's always been my in the back of my head. Um, there are times that, you know, when you're trying to be the funny guy, it backfires, right? You make fun of something, and then it gets to the point where like you don't know how it's affecting the other person. Um, so in the back of my head, I know that sometimes my jokes can definitely be a little bit harsh, and so people just don't have the humor for it. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've lost friendships because of it. I've lost quite a bit of friendships because of my humor. I again, kind of like what my freshman teacher said, you know, maybe you didn't add to it, but you didn't help. And that's similar, being a bystander. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm definitely trying to be a little bit more thoughtful about some of the jokes. To this day, it still bothers me that I made that joke on the Black EG. Um, you know, when he said, you know, once you go black, I said that your credit goes bad. I mean, I've heard that joke so many different times on movies, and I said it. It just, you know, again, it backfired because I had a few people that were making comments about that, how they felt attacked. Uh, and going back to that, like I told you guys, I'm not black. I don't know how that makes me feel. And so, yeah, there's definitely times that, um, you know, you say things, or I say things, I should say, that has some type of, uh, you know, maybe leave you guys with some bad taste in your mouth. Um, Definitely not my intention. I try to provide entertainment and humor for all of you. And there's just certain things that I will mess, you know, like I mentioned, cognitive, physical, you know, situations. Um, there's no way I would make fun of people like that. But I make mistakes, And so that's what this book is kind of bringing up. You know, the way you treat people, the way you see people. Great book. I definitely recommend it if you guys haven't. If you have, I mean, don't please do not tell me the ending. I'm not done yet. You know, but it definitely gets me thinking. And so the other story that I want to share with you guys, like I mentioned, I don't mess with when it comes to people with disabilities. Um, and I remember in middle school there was a gentleman uh, who had these like a C on his head. He obviously had gone through surgery, so you could see the outline of a C. And we were in seventh grader. He's and there was this dude, eighth grader. Um, he made a comment about him. You know, he called him, retarded. And I know this kid, and we were in the lunch line. He said, you must be, call him, effing because, that's why you have surgeries in your head. And again, it's one of those things that it was zero my business. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was just there waiting, and I remember seeing, and I'm not gonna say the gentleman's name, but I remember seeing my buddies, which I knew of him, but I didn't talk to him as much. And so I saw like just his demeanor, his face to just have somebody older tell you and in front of a whole bunch of kids. And I don't know, my body just moved, legit. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like my body just took a step forward, got in front of that dude's face, and I say that to me, see what happens. Honestly, guys, the eighth grade could have kicked my butt. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I guess one of those things like, man, I'm glad nobody has ever taken the swing because they were, like a superhero movie. I step up all crazy and then I get my ass whooped. um, but I stood in front of him. I said, "Say that to me, see what happens, man." And the guy didn't say anything. He just turned around, and I don't know. I think I must have called him mother effer and blah blah blah. And I looked at my buddy and I said, "Hey, don't let anybody, you know, talk smack on you, man." And and it's crazy. Oh man, I'm getting like all emotional now thinking about it. Um, he just looked at me. He said, "Yeah," and I stood behind him. Well, I would say what's up to him, ever after. And this is weeks and weeks. And I remember out of the blue, I was playing handball one day, and I was playing handball, and I saw him. He was just kind of by the handball courts, and so I lost, and I was like, "Ah, okay, cool." And he comes up to me. He was like, "Hey, man," um, I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "I just want to tell you that I'm leaving the school." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, we're gonna go to a different school. Uh, my mom just bought a house, so we're gonna move. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was to Corona, so it's about I don't know 30, 40 minutes away from where we live. Obviously, complete different school." I was like, "Oh no way!" He's like, "Yeah, man." It's like, "Hey, I just want to say thanks for standing up to that guy that one time." And I was like, "Yeah, no worries, man. Like, yeah, don't." And I remember telling him like, "Hey, man, like, who cares if you get your ass kicked? Like." Nobody should tell you this. Honestly, man, like they're just idiots, man. Just if anybody tells you anything about like the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you look, like, dude, just get your ass kicked. But you don't let them get that satisfaction to just say it and then not do anything about it. And he's like, I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you. So I give him a hug. That's weird for middle school boys, but I was in the moment and I felt like giving him a hug. I gave him a hug and I said, "Hey, man, best of luck, man." And to be honest with you, I didn't think much of it until now. Like now I realize like shoot, for somebody to tell you like, "Hey, like I'm gonna go say bye to this dude," I must have made an impact. And so that's why all these different memories are just kind of triggering when I'm reading this book. I'm just thinking like, man, we're all facing challenges that some of us can't see. We've all been, and not to say that if you're a white dude, you've never faced adversity or you've never been in a situation like that. Of course not. We all have been through that. It would be naive for me to think that just because you are, you look a certain way, you make a certain way of money, or you grew up in a certain way, like you haven't been through obstacles. No, no, no. We all have different obstacles. You know, they're just different. And so, I I understand that we all have different obstacles. I understand that I'm very blessed to have the opportunities that I do have because, others do not have it. Others won't. And maybe because of the circumstances, or maybe because they're not willing to put themselves in vulnerable situations. You know, a little bit of both. Let's be honest. I started, I used the Sony 6400 to do this wash and talk. I kind of like it, I kind of don't, because it zooms in a little bit more, but it gets you better details. As you guys will see right now in that little zoom in that I did, like you see the soap just kind of drip down. Oh, perfect timing. And it just, you can't get this with the GoPro. But let me remind you guys, I started with my phone. My brother got me a selfie stick, and that's how I started. And it was embarrassing having, you know, take out my phone, the selfie stick, and they would ask me, "Is that it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." But we all start somewhere, and so just by getting different experiences under my belt, uh, continue to push, continue to remind myself that you know there's more out there than just for me. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to provide a service to somebody. You have to. If it's always about me, 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 that's how people become discontent. It doesn't matter how much money they have. Doesn't matter the material things that they have, um, because it's always about me, 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 me. There's no sense of helping. Excuse me. Now, granted, you may say, "Well, I'm just getting what's mine, man. I'm not hurting anybody." You're right. But how are you making this place a better place for you, for your family, for your friends, for your neighbors? I feel like we lose that. We lose the sensation of providing for others, paying it forward. Especially with social media, is constantly, uh, you know, positivity doesn't really give views. Uh, if anything, it's the opposite. Let's see how mean we can be to each other. Let's see, the violence, all these different things that I don't think it feeds or well-being. So, as I've gone through the educational system, the K through 12, I've been in certain situations where I've gotten close to getting my butt kicked for defending others. Where they were, you know, getting bullied over different things, and I must admit, I'm sure I was a bully myself. Uh, and so as an adult now, I see it, right. But I still make mistakes, like I mentioned, the Black EG video. Um, so no, I'm not trying to be negative. No, I'm not trying to, impose my views on anybody else. And so that's why I tell you guys, man, please feel free to share in a positive and a respectful manner. Like, hey, man, I don't think you're seeing this the proper way, or have you thought about this? Um, because I don't want to be known as the guy that is always negative on watching talks or on my videos. Um, it's fun. It's fun to do these videos. It's fun to listen to what I was thinking at the time. It's almost like a diary. I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to a whole bunch of you guys. And believe it or not, I go back and listen to the Watch and Talks. Believe it or not, I watch my own parking lot videos. Believe it or not, I go watch the interviews that I do. Um, if you're not willing to watch your own videos, then why are you doing it? Like, I do exactly what I want to do because I enjoy it. And so I think that the more people tag along, it's very important to continue to share that message. The culture that we have here at Automotive Anatomy is to be positive. Um, if we see a negative comment, not to scoop down to their level, because like that freshman teacher told me, like, yeah, sure, you didn't add to it, but you didn't say anything. You didn't add anything to help the cause. You just stood quiet. You just saw it happen. So, like I mentioned, I posted on my Instagram this week. There was a comment that kind of got to me about the whole mask and The gentleman called me a sheep. He's like, nice mask, bro. You know, like, and so I respond like, hey, man, like, pretty much do something else with your time, man. Like, don't waste your time watching this, and don't put your beliefs onto somebody else. Like, if I want to wear a mask or I don't want to wear a mask, that's up to me, man. You know, he just says something along the lines of he stopped watching the video because of the mask, and you know, he called me a sheep. I'm not here to discuss whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't care about your political views. This is a card channel. I really don't care what CNN had to say about certain things, and I don't care what Fox News had to say about certain things. If I wanted to know that, I would create a political channel. I don't need a negativity in my life. But you know, if somebody sees a comment like that, I don't need anybody to add to it. I don't need anybody to, you know, really come in my, you know, defense, or to add to that, like, yeah, that's right, bro, like, you know, freaking sheep. All I'm saying is, man, like, you have the ability to watch anything you want. It's free. It's free. I wonder how many people would watch my videos if they had to pay. Probably not many, and I get it. But just because you're not adding to it, you know, to being the part of the noise, sometimes just staying quiet. Also, you know, it's you're not being, you know, like they say, if if you're not the problem, I forgot completely what they say. um, you can be part of the problem if you're not adding to the solution, something like that. But anyways, that's just kind of like the story that I wanted to highlight. Those were the two major stories that kind of arrived from the book that I've been reading. Again, don't spoil it for me. The man named Ove, Ove. Um, it's a great book. It's a great book. Definitely recommend it if you haven't, and if you have, then um, you know, I think there's a movie about it too. But yeah, no one's grumpy for no reason, and I think the more we give back, and I think that's kind of where the book is going to right now. The more you give back, the more, or you know, pay it forward. The more you be of service, the more you do things for others. I think that's when you really get that satisfaction, and that's how you start surrounding yourself with the positive um, set of people that will help you in the future. And so, as you guys can tell, I definitely I was in a rush in this video because the sun came out. If I'm not mistaken, I had interviewed somebody in the morning, and on the way home, I was like, I need to wash this car because the car was disgusting. And I was like, I don't care if it's cloudy, I don't care if it's sunny, I need to wash my car. So that's the answer, yes. And I'll be honest with you guys, there was a lot of water spots. I did not like it. I did not like washing the car in the sun, but man, I just couldn't see another day without washing it. It had been like 2 weeks. Or plus 2 weeks plus. But anyways, that's the reason why. That's the story behind washing on the sun. Don't wash the car in the sun. Wait for it. Wait until it gets dark, or you know, cloudy. But yeah, I mean, I think we lack perspective sometimes. We have it really good that we just don't appreciate the little things that we have. We don't understand that people come from different backgrounds, and they have different challenges and obstacles. And so when I was having this conversation with my coworkers about positive change, you know, because sometimes it seems like everything just keeps going the wrong way. And I'm here sitting just listening to them, and I'm like, damn, like my life is great, you know. Um, Obviously, I don't share my YouTube life with my professional life and the other way around. But I'm just sitting there thinking like, what do people do with 24 hours? Like, I really don't have time to just sit around and moan and feel bad for myself. I don't feed myself that. I don't. Every time that comes up in my feed on Instagram, I make sure that I put not interested. I don't care. Even things like takeovers, you know, with the whole car stuff. Man, I don't need that. I don't need none of this in my life. The news, man, the news is always breaking. Breaking news this, breaking news that. If everything's breaking, nothing's breaking. You know, if everything's important, nothing's important. That's when people are like, what are your priorities? Well, that's an oxymoron. You mean a priority, not priorities. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. And so, yeah, for me, that's my. It's been at least just a couple weeks. My priority is to be grateful. to listen to podcasts, things that I'm grateful for. How can I pay it forward? I've been discussing this, and again, I don't make decisions in my life without consulting with my better half. I do believe that that's part of it, right? You have to be a team, and when we go on our walks, I'm always discussing like, man, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough to help people. I'm not doing enough to be a positive impact in this community. She just looks at me like, you're crazy. Uh, but yeah, I excuse me. I feel like you know there has to be more to life than to just think me, or how can I benefit? How can I benefit from all of this? There is more to life than that, and so that's kind of what I've been messing with for the past 2 weeks, just being super grateful, being present, um, doing something nice for people, as much as you can, and so I don't know, how you guys are doing with that. Uh, I guess my question to you is, and if you believe in the whole Lunar New Year, if you celebrate that, well, Happy New Year. I'm recording this in the day of. I'm sure it's not gonna be posted until couple days later, maybe weeks. Um, but I truly believe that we gotta focus on something. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening to me just rumble and mumble. I definitely appreciate it, and I'm very grateful for you guys.